Yo, so the opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and the future Bachelor podcast only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity or anything like that. This fun podcast, though, may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor podcast.
Why don't we just hop into what we do around here? You know what I'm saying? Because it's that time to talk about the Bachelorette on our show. Ha ha ha. Yes. But before we get talking about the Bachelorette, YouTube, I'm going to need you to go ahead and subscribe, smash that thumbs up button, and hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time we drop new Bachelorette content just like this. And if you just did, oh man, huge shout out to you. Ooh-wee! Air horns for you. What's going on with my voice today? It's all the singing. I think I need a rest, but we got to talk, you know?
Yeah, you need to go on vocal rest after this.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, anyways, you know, we like to shout out our comment crew, the OGs, the Nancy Drew crew. We got Catherine Ann, we got Kathleen Kent, we got Marion SP. Chelsea Allen didn't show up in the comments this week, but she around, I know it. Returning, we got Beth Wanger, we got Sunny Days 00, Wendy Fraley, Mona Walter, Shanice, RS132256. Yes, and new to the comments, we got Paula K. Johnson, we got Renee Reese. What's up, everybody? We, you know, getting everybody in the comments section. It's been such a busy week that I actually didn't get a chance to reply to you guys yet. So, forgive me. I tried to, but like y'all are getting in the comments so much.
I was in there a little bit.
I know you do. You be popping in there. I usually try to comment to everybody. I just haven't had time. It's been an insane week with rehearsals, but yeah, I mean, again, if you guys don't know, I'm in a production of Legally Blonde, so it's been pretty crazy. But anyways, I think it's been a pretty good last week for new subscribers, people coming into the comments, and I appreciate all we appreciate all you guys coming in here and showing us love. We definitely have surpassed our goal of 200, now on our way to 250. So make sure you are subscribing, smashing that thumbs up button for sure, and giving us a like because it really helps us out here at the channel. You know, why don't we just hop into our comment of the week? This one's from the homie Catherine Ann, and she said, I think this would be a fun comment just to talk about. We've talked about it a little bit, but I want to hear your thoughts, V. Topic to talk about here, she says, I keep hearing other podcasts say they would love to see a same-sex Bachelor/Bachelorette season. How would that work and not have contestants fall for each other and not the lead? I'm guessing that maybe why they haven't tried it yet. What are your thoughts? I think having a paradise scenario would work better. Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen dabbles with it with this franchise. It's definitely been done with other reality dating shows. Like, how do you think that would work with the Bachelor format, Veronica?
I mean, I know in Bachelorettes that aren't in America, they had, I think Australia had the female lead. And so she had, you know, mixed gender cast, which you could say the same thing for her cast. Her cast could be falling in love with each other too, if, you know, that could potentially be a thing. As well as I think it was either Bachelorette Japan or something like that, where two female contestants ended up like leaving together. They were on a Bachelor show. But like, to me, I feel like if you're going on the show because you're interested in the lead, like, I think that's who you're going to be interested in. And maybe, I mean, like, everybody's attractive or whatever, things could happen, but I don't know if that's like the reason why potentially that hasn't been why they tried it. Because, like, I don't know, to me that just feels like, you know, if you're going on a show because you're interested in somebody, I don't think you're going to shoot yourself in the foot by going for one of the other contestants.
Yeah, I agree, because even if that scenario does happen, so what? So those people were not meant to, you know, be with the lead. And,
right.
You know, there's plenty of other people that will definitely take that spot because I think the majority would be there for, you know, the lead. So, yeah, I think that's correct. I just think that, you know, here they are trying their hardest to get back to the original format. You know, it's not like they're trying to evolve as much as they're trying to bring it back to, you know, what the heydays of the show was, you know. I think that's very prevalent with the creation of the Golden Bachelor. I think that scenario is going to be such a callback to what they really want this franchise to really be, which is about, you know, honest people that are focused on trying to find love, and not so much like, you know, the clout and the followers and everything, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I think we're gonna trying to get more to the original. Maybe we'll get some crazy spinoff where they're trying different stuff. I definitely could see it more in a Bachelor in Paradise scenario. In that scenario, though, I feel like it's kind of like a numbers thing, like pairing people off and stuff. It's just like it's not enough people that are, I think, on the franchise that are willing to do that. Like, they can't just pick random people unless they do. Like, you know, the challenge sometimes brings in what they call fresh meat, and it's just people that aren't from another show. They're just like, were cast for that show. So who knows? We might see something in the future.
Yeah. And I mean, like, Paradise tried to do that last season with like their version of Love Island's Casa Amor, where they bring in, you know, additional folks who then either get to stay or don't get to stay, but depending on if, like, you know, people couple up with them or whatever. So I wonder if that would be sort of how they would maybe bring in more, you know, queer folks to potentially pair up with other potentially queer folks. I think this would really have to, like, rely on the fact, like, if for Paradise, it would have to be a lot more folks that kind of like go across the spectrum, just because it'd be like easier to finesse an idea of, like, you know, they could be into multiple types of people.
Yeah,
but I think that
this comment stems from I think us discussing Gabby last week in the news of her, you know, new relationship and stuff. So it's just interesting to see these people find this type of love outside of the show when it's all getting filtered through the franchise. So why don't we start, like, kind of diving into that a little bit more, you know, on the actual shows. Right. But we'll see I'm sure we'll see at some point down the road. So at this point, just like to let you all know that we got the full podcast everywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, whatever. If you want more of us, we're there. This is just one portion of our show where we like to, you know, show everybody our that all the Bachelor news we got. You know, this show is based around the Bachelor Nation franchise, but we talk about pop culture, we talk about our lives, we talk about what we're watching. So catch that if you want to listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. So why don't we just hop into it? Week 8 of the Bachelorette charity season, Men Tell All, and it was interesting. So where do we start, V?
So yeah, it's Men Tell All. They kind of do. I was watching Bachelor Data's videos and stuff before and kind of after, because the way that this show was aired for many of us, especially for us here in Atlanta, there was a breaking news, like, cut in right pretty much like after the first hour about, you know, coming out with stuff with the whole indictment for the Georgia votes and stuff with the election that Trump is dealing with. And that pretty much took over the second half of the show.
Yeah,
so,
I'm going to be honest. I couldn't even catch the second half of the show because I record it, like, through my cable thing. And, like, the second half of the show was all, like, breaking news. So
right. And yeah, I watch YouTube TV. So I watched, like, the second half mostly on Hulu early this morning. So it's interesting because I know West Coast folks, they had their show, like, it was delayed. They started it and then it was delayed, and then they pretty much had it restart for them an hour later.
How much is YouTube TV?
Money wise, like, per month?
Yeah.
Like $70, I think now.
Oh, damn. Okay. I thought it might be more affordable, but yeah, that's expensive. Holy shit. Good for you. What is it like what is it like being into 1%?
I'm not in the one. I share it with people, so it's
nice.
not like I'm just paying for that.
Okay,
but
cool.
It used to be like only like $50 or $60. But anyways, so Men Tell All, they kind of enter it talking about how great charity is, do all of that. We see the 2 rows of dudes. We get mostly, like, the faves. We have the Johns. We have, we have Adrian. We have people who have been, making noise for most of the season. Then we have like kind of like some randos like James, who I totally forgot about. And
what about Pete?
We have Pilot Pete, the new Pilot Pete Peter, who this was interesting on the show that like, I guess we'll just skip to it just because we brought him up. But like he like tries to like chime in about something, and then they're all like, wait, who are you? And then it turns into this whole thing where Jesse asks them about, they're like, what's the deal here? Like, I don't know anything about this, but I know that there's been some drama with Peter and Pete or like whatever. And they all talk about how, I guess, on the first like Zoom call post season, like before, after everyone finished rapping, and it was probably like kind of like going over what happens next when it comes to promoting the show and all that kind of stuff. That's what I can assume based on what they said.
Like a post show
was that
like marching orders, like what you're able to do, probably what you're not able to do.
Right.
Just get them all together and tell them all at once. Like you can't just do this, like take on this brand deal until your contract's over or something.
Right. And so they, I guess after all of that, when they were posting, most of the dudes, when they were posting like the little promotional, their headshots and whatever, in the captions of theirs at the end of like, they're like, oh, watch me, start my journey on Love on ABC at, whatever time. They put like the little, I believe, the little like a middle finger emoji, because they blocked that out and they were like bleeping either, like, I'm guessing the word fuck on TV, and it was said, FP, or like fuck Peter. And so they kind of explained how that was the inside joke, I guess, because that first night, because he only lasted. I mean,
they're essentially online bullying, and it was they're trying to play
like a little code.
Yeah, they're trying to be like it was an inside joke, and they got caught. Like they thought they were being slick by initialing it.
Like, come on, it wasn't even subtle.
Yeah,
like, what are we doing?
The guy was all like, my family sees that. Like, no one would actually probably know. So making a bigger deal, unless you're that person.
He's like, my church group, my whatever, like, they all.
Yeah, but, I mean, I'm going to actually be on his side on it. Like, these guys, like, what are we, like, in high school? Like, this is the type of stuff that.
Right, why are they doing that?
Yeah,
like, they all said that they were rubbed the wrong way by him, and he was like, being fake.
Sure.
And that he was asking about deals and like whatever. But I'm like, then why are you gonna go about doing something like this? Like, that's so strange to me.
Yeah, and honestly, it gave him more shine. So it's like it had the opposite effect of whatever they were trying to do. I wouldn't have ever remembered him if you all didn't do this. So. Good for y'all, like, good for y'all. But, we start off, talking to all the guys, seeing who's returned and everything. And, I was excited to see, like, people like Brayden. Like, I was a fan of Brayden this season. Really not excited to see anybody else, really. But, where do we
I was excited to see John. I love John.
John was in there. Harmless dude, but we dove straight right into the Brayden drama. Like, what were we talking about there?
They pretty much, like, I feel like they tried it in like how they promoted this episode was they're really promoting like everything around Brayden, where like in reality I feel like we didn't, like, as viewers, we know that they've filmed this shit for hours and hours on end, and I feel like we probably only got bits of it. But I feel like they barely talked about that much. They just kind of like rolled his reel, which he was wincing at for a large majority of it, because he knew, he was like, oh, woof. Like, I was kind of putting my foot in my mouth for different things. And like, he was like, they kind of like start the whole bit with like Sean versus Brayden, with Sean being all like, you were saying this about your doubts and whatever.
Oh my God.
And
First
Braden's
of all,
all
Sean
like,
makes me sick, man. Like, I cannot
Sean
stand.
has a very punchable face.
The
most punchable face of them all.
He's just in personality. Like, I think, if he had more charisma, like someone like a Brayden, he would have been the villain of this season. But too bad, like Brayden had more, riz than he did. Like, he's not cool enough to be the villain of this season. But he has all the stuff there to be that. I just think he's so up his own ass. I just obviously he just wants attention and everything. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brayden did a great job of defending himself. Like, he didn't come off like, and there was good points. Like, obviously, what's his name? Adrian. He was one of the first people to kind of start drama with Brayden. And by actually putting words in his mouth and like lying about what he said, like, it got to the point where he said that, like, I remember, like, he started a narrative that Brayden said that Charity was classless, and he never said that. Like, he never said that. Like, he was like,
it's funny because I do remember him saying something to the degree of like commenting on her class level. He didn't say classless. They couldn't find the footage, supposedly.
Yeah, well, calling her classless or saying
audience doesn't also thought that he said classless.
Yeah, but like I think there might have been a difference in calling someone classless or calling something they did classless. Like, right? There's a difference there. Like you could be like,
I think in this situation, no, but I think he was
just saying, like,
commenting more on her class level, which I think is still not great.
I think an action can be classless, like, and it doesn't make the person that did that action completely classless. It's just, I think if I'm correct, I think the situation was about the makeout, the 5-minute makeout with Joey and stuff, and it's just like, it's just kind of like classless to like make out with like in front of your other like suitors.
Well, then that still sounds like you're commenting on what Charity is doing. So then that's
but like
comment on Charity.
I mean, he could have been talking about the production around it. Saying like production even coming up with the scenario like that's.
But he wasn't though, and we know that. Well, and they even commented on that.
I mean, all I'm saying is that like it was enough that the Bachelor put up a slate saying that they never found footage of him saying that. I mean, if they had footage of him having anything slightly close to that, I think they would have shown it. But they didn't, and I'd never seen that actually before, where they are kind of like editing themselves, making sure that there's no like libel.
Yeah, they're like, there's yet to be footage found. So like, I wonder what that even means in that situation.
Well, it means that we didn't see that on the season of The Bachelorette, like in any edits that they had. And then if they went back and tried to find it in the stuff that hit the cutting room floor, they didn't find it there either. So I think it's more of like, they can't like say that he said this and portray this guy in this. That's like defamation, like, you know what I'm saying? Or like, so, and I think he came out on top on that situation. So I was kind of like happy about that. Yeah, we already talked about the Peter situation where, there was some online bullying, seemed like that. Good on Xavier for apologizing. Other guys on that season, like there's like that one dude that has like an obvious like control anger issue where he's just like, can't, which one I'm talking about? Like the one that just gets
Aaron
like,
S.
Yeah, the guy just like thinks he's full of himself. He thinks he's like gift from God or something, and he's just
he was one who like commented being like, I'm a real man, whatever.
Yeah, he's just, you can tell he's a person that just like, is not a pleasure to be around. So good.
Which him and like Brayden are buddy, like they're really close now.
Are they?
Yes, they're all over each other's Instagrams. Like they just like traveled to Mexico together.
Well, it's probably because like that guy really didn't like Sean, and Sean, and Brayden are like, and I would be, it's always interesting with these Men Tell All, because like they'll be, Brayden wasn't mean enough to like be like the evil villain like we've had in the past. He was like kind of like the perfect villain for a season, if you want to call him that even. It's just like he was like a harmless dude that just stood out more than everybody else. But it's always interesting to me because those people are like still like boys with like all the boys. It's like, there, and also like the fact that we saw a scene of him on Bachelor in Paradise, which I'm super excited to see.
I mean, yeah, we know he was going to Paradise.
Yeah,
I
totally.
mean,
He's a perfect Paradise dude. But, you know, after being through Paradise, you make other friendships outside of like just your season. So like it's like,
right.
You know, I just liked it for Brayden because it was almost like all these guys like trying to hate on him, and Brayden by the end of it looked like the man. You know, he's hooking up with one of the cutest girls off.
I don't know if I'll say he looked like the man, but I think he looked definitely like Paradise was more his jam, which to me makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's my opinion. I think Brayden looked like the man. Like, you know, I think he held down like a whole pack of assholes like that are coming at him for dumb reasons. Like, you know, I just like the message of being yourself, like on this show. Like I can't stand, like I would hate to be like, maybe I should take out my earrings, you know, so I can blend in and not stand out. Like, you know, it's just, to me, I stood with Brayden. But moving along, then we get Brayden in the hot seat, and that's like, you know, kind of essentially where we see him give fake earrings to Jesse, which he puts on, which was pretty funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
and that's where we saw his like little clip, and I feel like his like hot seat just was kind of a continuation of like the beginning of their conversation, and it was just like, you know, him talking about what realness meant to him versus what realness maybe meant to the other dudes. Which I feel like he had some flaws in his conversation there. Like initially when he was still sitting with everybody and he was talking about the whole like, see, you're like even like holding back your cussing, like you're doing whatever. And I'm like, it's because we're on like you guys are in a recording with ABC. Like people don't know what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like conversations that leak like you would have with your friends in real life, and then you're trying to bring it on national TV and it just doesn't translate well. Like, you know, it's like, I'm sure that's like a conversation he had with like his people back home. Like, look, these people are just like censoring themselves. Like, I'm sure like he could go home and watch with his friends and see how fake everyone's being on this show. Like, you know, I love Charity. Like, oh my God, Charity's like the best. Like, you know, it's like, let's be real here. Like, I'm just trying to date like a normal girl, like, you know, and I might have a different way of dating girls than you do. So whatever. And that's what I mean by like, you know, at least up there, like he's having moments with Jesse. Obviously, Jesse and him have more history with him being in Paradise. They've, you know, have more to talk about that have yet to be heard. So, he made it out of there pretty good. We get to see him make out with Kat Izzo, who I thought was a standout from, was it
Zach's season?
You know, I thought she was beautiful. So, you know, them together makes sense on the beach.
And she was sort of a villain on Zach's season, so it kind of makes sense. They were both like sort of like weirdly villains, so I think that's kind of a fun pairing for sure.
Yeah, because they're both like just really good looking people. So, yeah, anyways, so then we get Xavier. What's going on with this? This got like kind of, it was kind of hard to watch.
It was definitely cringy. I feel like Xavier had his hot seat, and I feel like even with him apologizing earlier with the whole Peter situation, I feel like he's definitely vying for, he's like the sob story, hard, like, you know, a heartbreak situation for the show, because there's always at least one. And it kind of, to me, feels like he's also sort of vying for that Bachelor spot, which makes no sense. And I think he's like really just trying to like combat the fact that everybody's all like he's been knitting red flags. Like that's what like the whole conversation on the internet is right now. So I think, you know, he was really trying to cover his ass with just a lot of what he was saying, and they did a very emotional montage of his journey, which honestly just poked out more of like how he really handled things poorly there at the end. Like you could see the reaction from the other dudes as like he's like saying how many times he cheated in whatever period, and like saying that he needs to see more, and saying all this shit after like seeing him in 2 minutes prior in the montage being all like, I know like infidelity's a big thing with you, I'm always going to be honest with you, blah blah blah, and then like, you know, saying that the week before an engagement. And I'm like, bruh, you dug yourself a deep
I mean,
hole.
I think, yeah, he continued. I mean, although like, you know, it seemed genuine, sincere of like how he felt like bad about the whole thing. You know, a couple things, like I think like he should have kept his mouth shut during the Brayden stuff. I think, yeah, him apologizing to Peter about the FP stuff was him getting ahead of his hot seat moment. It's just like contradicting, like, you know, like be completely humble if you're going to try to go that route. That montage before his hot seat was just like really bad. It's a bad look. Like it made him look like a super player, which maybe he isn't. But, you know, those are the words he chose. Those were the actions he chose to do on the show. And then, yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to Xavier, I don't think Charity or Xavier, either of them thought they would be at Fantasy Suites about to go and like spend a night with each other. Like he was probably not expecting to be there. She probably didn't expect, but somehow he made it to, you know, the final four or three. And that's kind of like where it all started falling apart for him. I'm sure he really liked her, but he probably just needed to have more time with her. I think he liked Charity. He just didn't like the situation of her dating other guys and, you know, wanted more time before proposing.
Yeah, I think he just didn't like the idea that he had to make a decision about his future in a quick time period, TBH. Like, I don't even think it was a thing about like dating other guys. I think it was more him was like he was hit with the reality of like what she actually wanted, which is an engagement and a commitment, and he was like getting hit with that when it came to Fantasy Suite Week, being like, oh shit, like this is what has to happen now.
Yeah, I really believe like if you're gonna go on this show, you should just full on be prepared to like throw the fantasy of like I only proposed to one person one time. Like just go through with the engagement on the show if you win. Like if it doesn't work out, then you can always like end an engagement or something, you know. It's not like forever. Like, you know, if you need to tell her this information before you get engaged, like I don't know. Like I would think like wait till you're behind closed doors or, you know, whatever, but like it just didn't seem necessary. So this is kind of where I lost my the rest of the show because of the breaking news, but I heard he like knitted her a rose and that was sincere and everything like that. So
we'll get to so they bring out Charity and they bring her out to be in the hot seat, and so she comes in honestly confident, cool, collected. You could tell she's doing whatever, like she's putting up a good face because we have no idea, you know, what happens in the finale. We don't know if she's potentially with someone or if she's not or whatever that looks like. And she, you know, starts off by addressing Brayden first and being all like, you know, I don't love how you talked about a relationship with some of the guys in the house, but she's like, and I don't like the fact that you know, you thought that I was, you know, putting on a front with you, because she's like, I think I was being 100% all the time, and like, you know, I really appreciated what we had together, and you know, it was, you know, I think we had a great time, blah blah blah, and like she,
I think she did really truly appreciate you know, Brayden's role on this season, because you know, you really don't give it that much attention unless you really like someone. I feel like she really did like Brayden. Brayden just wasn't that into her. And it kind of fell apart. Like they weren't each other's people. I
think Brayden was into her. I think he just didn't know how to handle the process.
Maybe. But I don't know. How did you feel like Charity came off like with this? I wasn't really feeling her like in this men tell all. Like it kind of seemed like these guys were like beneath her. Like it's not like like the Bachelorette. Usually you're like, what's up boys, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't anything like that. She was just kind of like, she came in being like, it's all good to see them, they're great guys, they're whatever. Like I thought she was like very confident, cool, collected. Like I thought she was, I don't know, I kind of thought she came out looking great. I mean, she definitely looked great, but like, I mean, I just felt like there wasn't like a connection really with the guys, you know. It was interesting because then when Sean invited himself up, like at one point, like because like she's asking whatever, and then he just like heads up there, which she's like, what the hell are you doing? Because she's like, that's not, and like even Jesse's all like, did you just invite yourself up to the hot seat? Like that's not how this works. And he like just came up, and that was like definitely Sean being all like,
that's him being like his like little preppy self being all like, you're just so great. I just wanted to thank you for just being the best Bachelorette, blah, blah, blah. And like Jesse's like, go sit back down. I'm like, what are you doing? And
that was embarrassing.
I
got secondhand embarrassment like watching him do this. Like
it was cringy for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like she was visibly uncomfortable by it. Like she was like pulled back, like, you know, away from him and stuff. And yeah, I mean, everyone was kind of uncomfortable. It's just such a dumb move. Like you see people that like never got like shine on the show start talking a lot and everything. This was like taking a whole nother step of just like getting in front of and making a moment about you. And he got it. Like, you know, it's not like they cut that part from it. They wanted to show how cringy he was by getting up in the middle of the stage and stuff. But yeah, I felt like Jesse was pretty on it as far as host wise go. Like, you know, rolling with the punches, making jokes about it. Like he was he wasn't like super harsh on Sean, but like he definitely put him in his place. He's like, get back to your seat. Yeah. And what else happens?
So Xavier getting up there with Charity was, I think, definitely the most like uncomfortable part because, you know, she is asking him, being like, okay, so as you're leaving, as I'm walking you out, you're going to tell me you love me. Like, what was your plan? Like, she's like, to me, like, you know, a lot of it just felt like you told me you're going to be honest with me and then you didn't. And then like, you wanted me to give you more. And like, how am I supposed to give you more? Like, I was not going to stand for the kind of energy you're giving to me about you dropping a huge bomb on me. Like it just didn't. She's like, how is that my responsibility to then, you know, deal with your stuff? And the whole time he's kind of like a little sad puppy dog being all like, I've been thinking about you a lot. I still have feelings for you, like blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, if anything, blah, blah, blah. And like, it's just like, you could tell she's like uncomfortable the entire time. Cause she's like, you know, there's nothing here for me anymore. Like, you know, I saw what I needed to see and you let me down. And she even did say, she's like, I didn't, you know, if I had known, you wouldn't have been gone. You wouldn't have made it to the fantasy suites. Like this wouldn't have happened. Like that's, you know, to be honest. And then he does this weird thing where he like gets up, goes into the audience and she's like sitting there being like, what the fuck is going on? Cause she's like, why is he prolonging this whole moment? And he comes back with a knitted red rose to give her, which to me just felt like manipulative. Like, why is he going to take over that moment to act like, you know, like take control almost, like being like, here's the rose. Like, I wanted to give you one final rose or like whatever, blah, 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 to like show like how I still feel about you and whatever. And I'm just like, that's so awkward because like, what if she is engaged to somebody? Like, she's not keeping that rose. Like, what would that even do? It was like a shot in the dark to me.
Maybe. I mean, it's a gift, a handmade gift, you know. I mean, she can choose what she does with it, but it's one of those things that I might keep. Like, it's just, you know, it was a guy that knitted on my season. He knitted me a rose, which is like the symbol of like Bachelor Nation. So, there's nothing wrong with people giving people gifts. Like, you know, I think it just, I think it came with good intentions. Maybe he wasn't all like, look, like what I got for you. Like more of just like, you know, he felt bad. Like, you know, he felt bad. Like, I'm sorry. I think that's the most that he can do. I don't think he was inherently a bad guy. He just didn't know how to handle that situation. So, but moving on from Xavier, what else do we get from the rest of this episode?
We get a bunch of bloopers, which stuff we sort of already know, like the Barbie date, the manscaping from the dodgeball, them breaking shit and bumping into shit.
Do you like the bloopers?
I used to. I feel like they used to do better bloopers. Yeah, I feel like this season the bloopers were shitty.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I feel like bloopers are not. It's almost like the bloopers are meant to be like, look at this fun show. Like, it's like, but they're not even showing like genuine moments. I don't know. Like, it just feels. Yeah, I didn't see these ones, but like that's how they come off to me usually when they do them. Like, it's just like, look how fun our show is. Like, you know.
Yeah. But because they showed Jesse as Bigfoot, like breaking up Tanner and Charity making out, so it just like felt am like, that is fully forced. It's a forced moment.
Right,
So,
exactly.
but they bring out Captain Tom from the swamp 2-on-1 with Sean and Tanner, and homie doesn't even know Charity's name. He keeps calling her Chastity, and then
That's embarrassing.
And then he gives out a rose because he's all like, I was there. Based on who I thought she was vibing with, I give this rose to Sean. And like Tanner's like, wow, thanks, man. Like he's all like I'm down and out. But it was just weird. I was like, this is so unnecessary. Why do they bring him on? And then this is when, because it's the 20th anniversary.
I bet you anything we see that guy again.
Tom, the swamp guy.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna go back to the swamp?
Yep.
That'd be crazy.
He's a character.
They bring out some of our OG or just our older bachelorettes, former bachelorettes, because it's the 20th anniversary of Bachelorette. So it's like, the 20th anniversary of Mental, pretty much. And so they have Trista Sutter, who's the first ever Bachelorette. She calls herself the OG, the old gal, LOL. We have Desiree, who I think that was the first season I ever watched The Bachelorette. And then Deanna, who I feel like it was weird for them to bring on Deanna because she is like very publicly going through a divorce, like with her husband right now. And so it was kind of like a weird thing because like they have like Tristan and Desiree being all like, blah, 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 like giving advice about marriage. And like Deanna's like definitely the bitter Betty and being all like, you'll realize how resilient you are. And just like people will make unwanted and unwarranted comments, but like don't believe them and like stuff like that. And it just felt like very strange. And she was like making a comment being like, if you're ever, casting for a Golden Bachelorette, like I'm single and stuff like that. So it was just kind of strange, just kind of weird.
Yeah. Then when they like kind of jam in things, like it's like jamming the square into a circle hole.
Well, speaking of jamming, they had all four of these women. They had Charity and these three other women all on that teeny tiny little couch all together, which I was like, really? Like we couldn't have a bigger couch for them? Like what's going on?
That's hilarious. What's it called? So I mean, we pretty much end this with, a look at our Golden Bachelor. What was, your thoughts on that?
They did the tearjerker montage talking about Gary's end of the relationship with his wife, that is died with literally like a month after they bought their dream house on the lake. And how, he's all like, and whenever I'm at that house, I just feel like, I need to be sharing that with someone. Like this was Tony's dream, blah, blah, blah. And then it pretty much cuts to him like hanging out in the local bar with his old friends, talking about how he passed the drug and STD test and like how, he's getting ready to meet all these women. So it was just kind of like a weird, they definitely amp up the whole idea of like how he's going viral and he's like, I don't even know what that means. And like, like different terms, like calling him a grand zaddy and, everybody, and he's like asking the dudes for advice and they're like, you're the man. Like, like you don't need any advice from us, like blah, blah, blah. And it just definitely, they're really like pushing the whole, like, look, he's an old guy. This is like, as you were saying earlier, Si, like, this is going to be like, there isn't going to be clout involved. Like, this is going to be about like truly like finding a new love and that you can find, a new love and find that partner, to be with you for, the rest of your time. And they asked the question of like, is there going to be fantasy suites? And Gary's all like, yeah, man. Like, I mean, that's farther down the road. Cause I think they're in the midst of taping his season. Like right now I saw it, I think it was a week ago or something where Jesse Palmer had posted about being like his journey's underway. So I don't even think they're at that point of the show yet, but I'm interested to see how the format works with, with people who aren't hungry for Instagram followers.
Yeah, but they're still human, True. So fantasy suites, I think, are not going to be that much different. I mean, maybe they just like chill and, but who knows? You know what I'm saying? They've been around. These people have been around the block a couple of times, probably. So
I wonder if like filming schedules for this is also different because I know with Bachelor, Bachelorette, like I mean, they are filming, like, they're getting barely, like, they're filming, like, long, like, 17-hour days and stuff like that. Like, will that be held to the same standard to, like, is that sustainable for 71-year-old man? I don't know. Like, I mean, he seems like fit, able, healthy dude, but
yeah,
I mean,
do we know how many
after a while.
Do we know how many contestants are on his season?
Nope.
Is it like the standard, like 26 or something like that?
Yeah, like I'm guessing in the 25-30 range.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. So yeah, and then we get a preview of the end of the season. Excuse me. Do we see anything new? What do you think we're getting?
Well, obviously she's gonna make out with Aaron. She's gonna kind of invite him back on to the season. It looks like, for the finale. And then it looks like she's really searching for answers from her mom. And it looks like kind of like her mom's going to be like, you know the answer. You know in your heart what the answer is. And, like, you got to just own up to it and, like, whatever. So it looks like she's really in a crosshairs of
Joey and Dotun.
Who, yeah, right. What she should do between them.
It's to me, it's probably just like she wants Joey, but she knows Dotun is the guy, you know, it's like her heart and her mind type of thing, you know?
Right.
And she's like, I know people are going to hate me if I don't pick Dotun probably. So those are probably thoughts going through her mind. Well, yeah. Anything else happening in Bachelor Nation?
Yeah. So Nick Viall and his fiance, Natalie, are expecting their first baby together. They posted a photo this past week, which kind of, you know, got hidden by some other stuff, but which I'm intrigued by, like, what their wedding timeline and stuff is. Like, are they going to wait until after she gives birth? What's that going to look like? She looks decent. Like, she's several months in for sure. She has, like, a decent bump from, like, recent pictures and stuff like that. So
it seems like such crazy
I'm
timing,
intrigued.
like to be engaged to someone, then have a baby, then get married. Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's interesting because, like,
she seems like the type of
What?
person that's gonna have the baby and then want to get married after that. But you know,
yeah, I mean, she's 24,
Yeah.
so.
I
don't
mean,
know.
good for them. Congratulations. What else is going on?
In other news, Abigail Heringer and Noah Erb are engaged. You know, they were a Bachelor in Paradise couple from that season, like a couple summers ago, which has been seemingly like the most successful season thus far when it comes to couples. Like, their success rate is insane. They've had, I think, they've had at least like 5 or 6 couples that are still going strong or have gotten engaged from that season, either afterwards or, you know, on it. So definitely big congrats to them. Her ring is huge. The rock is ginormous. And I think that the engagement was in San Diego, and I guess Thomas, you know, the fiance of Becca Kufrin, helped with some of the arrangements for the proposal. So definitely a Bachelor Nation affair, if you will.
Nice. So the baby's coming soon.
Hopefully not. Hopefully they're also not like on this weird like let's get engaged and then have a baby timeline.
Yeah, it's first get engaged, then comes the baby carriage, then comes walking down the aisle. And it doesn't really rhyme, but that's where we're at in 2023. Which is not bad. I mean, if you want to do it that way.
I mean, yeah, if that's how you want to do it, go for it.
It's just, you know. All right. Well, guys, what do you guys think about all this stuff? Where were your thoughts with the men tell all, with Braden, with Xavier, with Sean, you know, all these different things with Charity? You know, how are you feeling about Nick Viall? New baby news, you know, new engagements. Just let us know in the comments below. And you'll get a shout out next week. And we'll be back with, what is it, the final episode of The Bachelorette? Is it?
Yep. Next week's 3-hour season finale, as they tend to do for us.
So we'll see you with that, guys. So definitely lock in for an exciting, hopefully, ending to the season.
Future Bachelor Podcast.